Howdy folks, I'm Darren and welcome to Cross Timbers Outside. Glad to have you with us today. We're crappie fishing. We're on the lake today. Me and my wife Susan in the last video fished this same lake and in this same area about a week ago. Well, actually about 8 days ago, a little over a week. And we had a fantastic day. The water temperature currently is 70 degrees. And the last time we were here in this creek channel, up this cove where this creek channel is, the fish on the creek channel ledge, they weren't necessarily holding because of the brush, but the brush was helping. There was a down tree, a downfall, but the crappie were not up in that tree. They were on the creek ledge, and the tree canopy and stuff where this tree had fell was providing shade on the water, and they were up under the shade of that tree. That was 8 days ago, and we didn't catch any on the bank, but I'm thinking now these crappie may, some of them, may have moved up on the bank to spawn. We're gonna start out fishing today with our favorite casting rod. It is a Bass Pro Shops Crappie Max. Okay, rod, signature series. It's a light action, fast light action. 6 foot 6 inches, and we're going to be using our customary PC Fun Viper X2000 reel, spooled with 4-pound high-vis Crappie Max line. We're going to start out throwing up on the bank. We're going to be searching, see if these crappie are up on the bank. We're going to start out throwing our favorite search bait, and that is a Roadrunner or an underspin. And this one has the red hook on it, what you call a blood hook, 1/16 ounce. And we're going to start out throwing this bait up on the banks. And I gotta say, I fish this lake quite often, and we have not had any measurable rain in quite some time. It's getting dry. And it is very cloudy today with some sun coming in and out through the clouds. Forecast for thunderstorms. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on the skies today. I do not keep fishing if the lightning starts or anything like that, or you even see it or hear it in the distance. We're gone. Okay, at least until it passes. We are going to, this lake, with the lack of no more rain than we've had, this is almost one of the clearest times I've seen this water be. This water is really clear today. This water usually has a slight stain to it almost year round. Today this lake's almost like a high mountain lake. It's clear. All right, we're going to ease over here toward the brush or the bank, and we're going to fish down this creek channel on the bank, casting this underspin, a search bait, to see if we can find or locate some crappie spawning on the bank. We don't know if they're there or not. I have no idea. I've not talked to any other fisherman that's fished this lake lately. I have no idea if these crappie are on the bank yet or not. But man, if they're not, it's got to be close. I think some of them may be on the bank. The early spawners may be up there. We're going to ride down this bank along this creek channel, casting our search bait, the underspin, and see if we can locate some fish. Stay with us. Okay folks, I just caught a really nice bluegill and realized I did not have my camera on. If there's a fish second to crappie that I love to fish for, it's bluegill. Especially when these big bluegill start spawning and these big bull bluegill get up on the beds and on the banks. Wow, you talk about a lot of fun. And pound for pound. There is nothing fights like a big bull bluegill. Man, and they don't shake their head, they just try to run. They try to get away from it. And man, will they pull. For their size, if you've matched your tackle and your gear to the fish that you're targeting, boy, is bluegill a lot of fun. And usually the first full moon in May signifies when the first run of the bluegill will move up on beds. Now, that's, of course, that's weather dependent, that's not always, but if you have a typical spring and the water temperature is in the 70s, when you have that first full moon in May, that's usually when it's time to target some bluegill on the beds. And boy, is it fun. And you talk about a good eating fish. Table fare for crappie is excellent. But man, I'm telling you, bluegill ranks right up there with them. So far, that's the only bluegill I've caught. I think he was not spawning, he was just in the area. Which makes you realize they're probably close to spawning, about like the crappie. This is historically a good area for crappie to spawn. There's a lot of sandy bottom on the bank up through here and rocky bottom. There is a place up here where they built a house you may have saw in our other video where they have put riprap on the bank for erosion control. And usually riprap is a really good spawning spot for crappie as well as bass, and but crappie like to spawn on rocks, almost as good as sand. And you know, if the crappie are spawning, the males, oh, there we go, there's a fish. And that is a little male crappie. All right, here we go. He's not a keeper, but that tells us he was right up on the bank. Little male crappie, he's starting to get a little color. Male crappie, when their hormones get raging, boy, do they get pretty. That's a little fella, about 4 inches. All right, but he was up on the bank, so that's a good sign. Just like that. And I've caught about 5. None of them really big, and they've every single one been white crappie. About this size, about 6 inches. Where's the big girls? That's what we're hunting. But you know what, even if you don't catch none of the big ones, this right here is fun. I mean, this is just fun. I'm pitching and letting that bait pendulum off that tree. And they're not hitting it near the tree. I'm just pitching there to let it get some depth. And about like that, and just let it pendulum back through off that brush right over this ledge. There we go. They're not real active. You'd think as many fish as on my graph that they would be piled. Okay, there's the first black crappie I've caught off this area. He's a small one. They're all right here small. Maybe the big girls are on the beds. We're gonna go on down here this riprap in a minute. See if we can't find them on the beds. But dang, this is a lot of fun. It's hard to leave this when you're catching fish like this. Even though they're not that big, it's just a lot of fun. This tree is very deceptive. You'd think, looking at this blowdown, that these fish are up on this blowdown. They're not. They're on the ledge. It's quite deceptive. There we go. This might be a little better one. I think he's gonna be worthy of a net because he's barely hooked. I can see him. I can see that hook, and it's a black crappie. There we go. I'm not so sure he's a keeper either. No, he's about maybe 9 inches. We're gonna turn him back. Finally catching some black crappie. Most of them up to this point has been white crappie. I'm keeping my eyes on the sky. We could get some thunderstorms and stuff this afternoon. So I'm gonna keep my eyes on the sky around here. Every so often just look, and I'm gonna check my phone, the radar on my phone too occasionally. There we go. That feels like a little better one. All right. What we got here? Another black crappie. All right. He's probably about 8, if I was guessing. Black crappie. It's a decent fish. He's probably would be good for frying, but regardless, back he goes. All right, we are just pitching this jig, and it is a 1/16 ounce blackhead with a Bobby Garland monkey milk bait on it, and we're just letting this bait pendulum, pitching it right over there and letting it swing right over this ledge. Trying to stay back far enough to stay off these fish. There we go. Boy, that's a monster, ain't it? Look at that one. That's a monster, boys. Girls, look at that, about 4 inches. We're pitching right up in along this tree. As I said earlier, this tree is hanging over a ledge, a creek ledge. And we're just letting this bait pendulum right off of that ledge. And it's working. That's about number 10 I've caught. No big ones. Biggest one about 9 inches so far. There we go. There we go. Black crappie. Easy now. Easy, easy. I'm gonna turn you back if you'll just calm down. There we go, about an 8-incher. Let's let him go. There we go. He's a little one, about 6 inches. I don't know if he's even that long, maybe 4. Little bitty fella, black crappie. The future of the fishery looks good from how many 4-inchers that we've caught this spring. But it does say something about the spawn. It was apparently good because there's a bumper crop of about 4-inch, 5-inch crappie in this lake. I mean, a bumper crop. And you know, certain lakes are, lake to lake's different. A big crappie in one lake might be 17, 18 inches. In the next lake, a big keeper crappie might be 13, 12. It's funny how that works, but that's just the way it is. Some bodies of water will just grow bigger fish. I guess a better supply of food, bait fish, things of that nature. All right, I'm gonna make just a couple more casts, then I'm gonna change bait colors. Sometimes after you've caught some fish out in the area, man, you can change bait colors and get a few more strikes. And there we go. There is one. Oh yeah, that's a net. That's a good fish. That's a good crappie. Black crappie. $11 9/16. Let's let him go. We're not keeping none today. We already have fish for our, we already have fish for a camp out, so there's no need to keep any more. All right, this bait has started slipping on the hook, on the jig head, very regularly. We're gonna replace it. And I am going to replace it with an electric chicken. Let's try that. And it is a Bluegill electric chicken. Just for fun. We have changed up baits. And as you can see, just for fun, we have put on a 1/16 ounce blackhead with a sickle hook electric chicken. It's pink and yellow. It's the Bluegill. It's supposed to be really bright. let's just see what happens with it. Crappie can be spooked quite easily from boat traffic if they're pressured. And these fish here are pressured. If they're used to being fished for and you let your boat drift a little too close to them, they may scatter. However, if they scatter because you let your boat get too close, you usually can give it about 15, and there's a fish on this Bluegill. Yeah, he's small. All right. You usually can give it about 15, 20, 30 minutes, something like that. Sometimes, depending on how pressured, maybe an hour, and come back, they'll be back. If that's where you scattered them from, they're not going to stay off of what attracted them there to start with. Just bide your time, go somewhere, bank, cast for a little while, troll for a little bit, and remember where those fish were stacked, and come back and stay a good 15, 20 feet off of them at the minimum, and you'll be able to catch them if they're active. I'm really wanting to catch some tuxedoed up, some males on the bank. We're gonna go try that here in a few minutes. We've been fishing for these that are out here holding. The nature of the way that bait's traveling above them and they come up and hit it, you never feel it other than you just see your line go slack. It's amazing how fast a crappie can grab a bait, inhale it, and blow it right back out when they know that it's not right. I've watched some underwater videos of that, and it's pretty amazing how fast a crappie can inhale a bait and then blow it right back out. They're amazing fish. All right, we've only caught one little one on this electric chicken. If we don't do something better here in a few minutes, we'll change again. Or we may go on down here and do a little bit of bank fishing. I want to catch some in a tuxedo, what I call the males colored up in that black and white. There's a fish. He's not very big. I can flip him. All right, about a 6-inch white crappie. And no, he's just about 5 inches. Little fella. All right, we've got our casting rod back in our hand with an underspin, and we're gonna start casting back up on the banks for just a little bit. And just see if we can't find some fish on the banks. I've only caught just a couple near the banks, and they weren't in full spawn. I think they were just cruising looking. We might come back to this ledge later. Earlier we got a little too close in there with our boat, and I think we may have spooked some fish. Matter of fact, I'm about sure we did. So we're gonna go on down this bank in the shallows, see if we can't. There's one. What is that? That's a little itty bitty bass. I mean, a tiny little old thing. I don't think I've ever caught a bass that small. And you know, when you're fishing these underspins, man, you're liable to catch just about anything. And I am not a big fan of bass fishing. If you like to bass fish, pardon me. But I just don't like the style of bass fishing, the run and gun type fishing. I don't really enjoy that much. But you got to give credit where credit's due, man. A bass will fight. And this lake has stripers in it. And last year I caught about a 25-inch striper on a crappie rod. And you want to talk about a tussle. That was a tussle. There we go. There's a crappie. Okay, right up on the bank, and it's not that big a one. And he's not really colored up that much. Little black crappie. All right, there's one off the riprap. There we go. Boy, I need to tighten this drag just a little. Okay, here's probably a little male. It's starting to get black. He's small. He's only about 6-7 inches. See the coloring? He's starting to black up. All right. Right up on the banks. So that tells me these fish are getting ready to do their thing. Well, folks, you may be able to tell we're off the lake. The boat is hooked to the truck, and we're out of here. I had to quit early today. My wife, Susan, I was in the middle of fishing, and she texted me on my phone and said, "Hey, Darren, have you looked at the radar?" And I replied, "No, but I will right now." And I looked, and I've been keeping my eye on the sky all day. And boy, there was a line of severe thunderstorms and lightning associated with those storms. On the radar, those sails heading right toward me were red. And man, I'm telling you what, you talk about a fisherman putting his gear in the compartments in the boat and putting his rods up and strapping a life jacket on and hammer down to the ramp. I did. There's no fishing worth putting yourself in danger. So our day's done early. Caught some fish, didn't catch a lot of fish. I was really anticipating doing the bite being really good this evening, but I'm not gonna be able to find out now. It's just the weather is deteriorating rapidly, and I have almost broke a sweat getting this boat loaded, hurrying. I don't want to be out in this open area and it start lightning. But we had a great day nonetheless. It doesn't matter if you catch 0 or you catch a bunch or you fish 1 hour or 8 hours. It's good to be out in God's great creation. And thank you so much for being with us. We're going to get this camera put up and we're going to get in the truck. I can already feel raindrops before any more lightning comes, and get on our way out of here. Thank you very much for being with me today. I really appreciate it, and I pray God blesses you and your family, and I pray y'all have a fantastic day.